the Bible, there's a verse that says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged." And so a lot of people who only know this verse use this against their friends who seek to correct. They're like, "Up, up, up. It says in the Bible, don't judge." And if you don't know the context, you'll be like, okay. But well, in the original context, what they're thinking is not exactly what it means. That's what we'll be talking about in this episode, so stay tuned. Hello people in the world, I'm Hannah of Hope and Future Bible Devotions. This channel gives you encouragement and godly wisdom with Bible context and life application. So welcome, and if you are new here and that's what you're looking for, consider subscribing. Our passage will be from Matthew 7 verses 1 to 6. But let's look at context first. Matthew, the accepted writer of this book, was writing to the Jews, presenting Jesus as the Messiah, and it focuses on Jesus' 3 years of ministry. The passage's setting is when Jesus was giving something called the Sermon on the Mount among the people, and it's something that we can apply to in our relationships with people around us. The most important thing we need first is discernment. Discernment is the ability to decide between truth and error, and it's synonymous to thinking biblically. 1 Thessalonians 5 verses 21 and 22 say, "But examine everything, hold firmly to that which is good, abstain from every form of evil." This is what we need to fully understand any passage. So let's go to the first thing. Check your motive. Let's read verses 1 and 2. "Do not judge so that you will not be judged. For in the way you judge, you will be judged. And by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you." Many people look at this passage in isolation to the rest of the scriptures, but we always have to keep the principles of the whole Bible in mind. It says in John 7 verse 24 to judge with right judgment. In John 5 verses 9 to 13, it talks about judging people in the church. And in 1 John 4:11, it talks about testing the spirits, which involves making judgments. The idea here is to judge biblically and not condemningly. Not to pin one down, but to bring a person back to the right path. Next is to check your own heart. In verses 3 to 5, it says, "Why do you look at the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your eye,' and look, the log is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye." We shouldn't be too worried about others' sins that we overlook our own. An example in the Old Testament is in 2 Samuel 12, when the Lord sent Nathan to confront David of his sin. When Nathan gave an example of a rich man who took a poor man's lamb to prepare for the guests that came to see him, David was greatly angered with the rich man. This is where Nathan told David, "You are the man!" Sometimes we hold ourselves with less regard compared to when we look at others. But also, don't confuse hypocrisy with humanity. A hypocrite is a person who only puts on a religious behavior in order to gain attention, approval, or admiration from others. An example of this would be the Pharisees. We all fall short, as Romans 3:23 says. Keep your heart in check. Don't look on yourself to the point of misery and depression, but be discerning. How's your relationship with God? Keep yourself in check first, then when the Spirit compels you to help another brother or sister that is not in check, that's where you come in. Now, before we continue, please give this video a like if you're getting value from it, as it helps the algorithm spread this to more people. Then, check for humility. In verse 6, it says, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, or they will trample them under their feet and turn and tear you into pieces." This doesn't mean to be harsh, it's just a metaphor. Dogs during the Bible times were associated with evil and low status. They ate crumbs off the table, and Goliath said, "Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks?" Now, as for pigs, if you give them pearls, what would they do with them? Nowadays, a lot of people don't like being corrected. Some don't believe in absolute truth anymore, and those are the ones that are hard to correct. That's why we have to be wise to whom we give our rebuke. That doesn't mean we don't care about those who are unreceptive. We pray for them to have a humble heart and see their need for correction. But for those who are receptive, we are to be long-suffering in trying to help them come out of their error. During this critical time, I've learned to catch myself more in giving grace toward others. People are going through different things, especially now. And sometimes when people go through hard things like those, they tend to do things that they don't mean to, or they do things out of desperation, or unconsciously they hurt other people. But with that, I try to comfort them, and I try to be gentle and loving in how I give rebuke. Sometimes that's actually what they need. Check your motives, check your own heart, and check for humility. If you haven't heard the gospel yet, or you want to understand it better, check this video, and this other video might be something you need right now. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one.